Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're talking about the one, the only beloved ICP. Now, you know me, I'm personally super high on ICP and its technology. And speaking about that, ladies and gentlemen, would you guys like more videos surrounding ICP and its technology and future updates? Like, for example, exchange listings or an event they go to, or X, Y, and Z, just news related content towards ICP. If you like that, let me know in the comments below. Listen, today we're going to be talking about ICP, but from a little bit of a different way. Yes, it's going to be technical analysis, but you don't even need to really know anything too much when it comes to technical analysis, right? You don't really need to know too much. Here is the deal, people. Before we talk about the basics, right? ICP dropped drastically last week during the big dip. Now, here is the thing, people. This is actually probably one of the best and most bullish signs I've ever seen. Now, you might be thinking, how the hell is it bullish when we're all the way down here? And I say, listen, that is fair. But you have to realize that investors, the way things work, usually, right, when they are looking, let me remove this indicator. When they are looking, let's say, to buy something, right, they will usually have a stop somewhere, below a low, like at the low or below a low. And, they'll try to trade it to a certain amount and X, Y, and Z. Here's the deal, people. Last week, we took out the final bottom of ICP ever. We've never hit that type of bottom before. Okay, because when ICP came out, this thing started at the literal heavens. Okay, this was like Lucifer coming out and getting kicked out of heaven, dropping all the way down to earth. Okay, I mean, I'm just serious. This is we literally started at, let's just say $750, and we dropped all the way down to roughly $40 within a span of 4 to 5 weeks. Okay, and eventually we created these bottoms around, $3, maybe a little bit lower, $2.90, $2.85. And these were the bottoms, right? These were the literal bottoms. But here's the deal, people, right? We swept those bottoms, which is an absolute fantastic sign. Okay, because last time when we swept bottoms back in 2023, right, and we were in no man's territory, these were the reversal times. Okay, right, you can see we're here for a couple of weeks, and then we started to aggressively go to the upside. And now kind of the same thing has happened, right? We have taken out these bottoms, and there's nothing else to take out, right? From a manipulation standpoint, from a market maker standpoint, there's nothing else to do. Sure, we can technically still, in theory, continue to go down and down and down if we wanted to, all the way to zero, right? If we really wanted to, but it doesn't really make sense from a market maker standpoint, right? We know there's a lot of liquidity in the markets. Sure, in crypto, there is, there are some struggles. But, when we go to something like gold is at all-time highs. Gold is flourishing. Look at this, right? It pretty much hit almost $4,400, right? Within just a month and a half, this thing shot up hundreds of dollars. And we know historically, gold kind of tops out first, and then Bitcoin and cryptos get the money second. Okay, and that's just how it is. That is just the truth. Now, here is the deal, people, right? Something I wanted to show you guys, right? Oil actually went down to zero. Now, some exchanges don't show that it went down to zero, but it literally went down to zero. So it swept years and years of data back from the 1900s. And technically, any investor that was holding, let's say, for 50, 70 years, if they had a open contract position, they got swept. And what happened after these big dumps, after this big sweep, right? We saw oil was chilling around $65. Even on this exchange, it went down to 90%, right? Like I said, it went to 0%. You can search it up what the price of oil was back in 2020, right? Of March and April, right? It literally went to zero. But even let's play devil's advocate, right? That it did go down 90%, right? Boom. We saw it go down, and then what happened? It took a couple of weeks, but we started to reverse, and before you knew it, we actually hit all-time highs for something like oil. So, ladies and gentlemen, okay, this is kind of like the same thing ICP's in. right? We swept the bottoms. We practically hit zero. Okay, I know we didn't technically hit zero, but we did sweep very, very low. And right now we are just looking for an area to bounce off of, right? There is a zone right over here at roughly, let's just say $3, right? We're looking at the zone roughly at $3. Now, I personally think it's going to go a little bit lower. I have some sniper entries that I also gave out to the private community, but overall, right, this zone right here is actually not a bad zone. And we're just looking for reversal signs now, right? We are looking for reversal signs. And once we start getting those, that's when we're going to have the confirmation. Okay, that's when we're going to have the confirmation. When we go and add something like one of the most popular indicators, right, that I did tweak with my own custom settings to make it actually more accurate, we can see, right, every time the orange comes above the green, that means we are very, very bullish. We are going up consistently, and this is on the weekly. And we can see, right, the orange went below the green line back in, let's just say, the end of January, and we're almost at November, and you can see that there was never really a close point of us, crossing the lines again. The orange has been below the green line consistently for many, many months now. And, I do believe there's going to be a point sooner than later where we do have this orange line cross the green line and give us that extra confirmation. When we go to the daily, we can see there were times where we kind of crossed up and down, but this is why context was very, very important. In general, we know we kind of were ranging between $6 and let's just say $4.80, right? This was the main range. Now we did break below it not too long ago. We did retest, and of course we had that big massive crash. When we go to the 4-hour chart and we look at the data, the last relevant data of the last week, we can see the green line is still above the orange. So there are no reversal signs yet. Now, when we go to the 2-hour, yes, of course, there may be certain times where we kind of cross, but these time frames are less valuable, right? The 4-hour, the daily, and the weekly are very, very powerful. We can see on the hourly, right, there was a time where we were bullish. And here's the thing, right? On the hourly, it can flip because, yes, if you're hypothetically taking a trade and you just say take it here, you have a stop here, right? You could have hypothetically made some type of money if you did a leverage trade, okay? And that's the thing. So obviously, the smaller the time frame, the more it's going to flip because on the 15-minute, on the 5-minute, it actually could be going up. But then on the 4-hour, in general, it's going down. It gets really complicated, right? We're not going to dive too much into it. But we can see, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of this whole range, we haven't flipped on the 4-hour once. And that is what we're going to be monitoring. And that's what we're going to be looking for over the next couple of days. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, right, that ICP is ranked 49 out of 9,483 active cryptos. We are at $3.13, 1.7 billion market cap, 110 million volume. So despite the big sell-off and everything, we are still holding our ranking top 50. Absolutely amazing. Now, if you would like more content surrounding ICP news, exchange listings, all of that type of stuff, let me know if you guys would love to see that. I know there's a lot of news surrounding ICP, so let me know if you would like me to do that consistently. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.